How did one lunch joke about his tiny savings turn into divorce papers delivered at my office lobby? Why did he stay calm for weeks, then move faster than I could talk my way out of it? What happens when the villain husband never breaks the law? He just brings receipts. My name is Gerty Farish, and I always thought I was the practical one in our marriage. I worked in marketing at a luxury real estate firm, and I lived inside other people's dreams all day. I saw penthouses, pool decks, and wine fridges that cost more than a small car. When I came home, our kitchen felt too quiet. Our life felt plain. I told myself plain was the same as stuck. My husband, Evan Mercer, ran a small HVAC repair business. He worked with his hands and came home smelling like metal and dust. He was proud of every client review and every tool he bought with his own money. He also saved. He saved like it was a religion. He talked about a future service van and better equipment like they were family members. That morning, I was in our kitchen scrolling my phone while the kids ate cereal. Evan set 2 mugs on the counter, one near him and one near me. The space between them looked bigger than usual. He asked how my day looked. I said it was packed and important. He nodded like he believed me. Then he told me he moved money into a business savings account again. He said it would help taxes and keep the business stable. He said he wanted to build something for all of us. I heard the words, but I also heard what I wanted to hear. I heard him choosing his little business over my comfort. I heard him telling me I should be proud of small. I hated that feeling. I asked why we could not live a little now. He said we were living, just not flashing it. I said my coworkers lived and traveled and did not count every dollar. He asked if we were competing with them. I said we were competing with time. He looked tired, but he kept his voice calm. He told me he was doing this for the family. I told myself he was doing it to control the family. At work, the office was bright and loud, with glass walls and fake plants. People talked about ski trips and private school tours like it was normal. Mary Santos, my friend from work, showed me a picture of her friend's new watch. She asked if Evan had ever bought me anything like that. I laughed like it was nothing. I said Evan did not get luxury. I said he got tools. Mary laughed too, and I liked how it felt. Later, Grant Ellison passed my desk with a coffee in his hand. He always looked polished, like he had time and money saved inside his sleeves. He asked if I was joining the team for drinks after work. I said maybe. He said I should come because I worked hard and deserved fun. I told myself it was normal encouragement. I told myself I was not starving for attention. All day, I watched my coworkers talk about investments and generational money. I felt like I was wearing the wrong shoes. When Evan texted me a photo of a used tool set he wanted to buy, my first reaction was not love. It was embarrassment. I did not answer right away. I let the message sit, like a cold plate. After work, I joined the group at a rooftop bar. The air smelled like perfume and sweet drinks. The city lights looked like a promise that belonged to other people. Everyone talked over each other. Mary said her boyfriend surprised her with a weekend away. Another woman said her fiancé's family had a lake house. Someone asked what Evan did again. I said he had a small repair business. I tried to say it like it was cute, not small. Mary asked if he was making good money. I shrugged and said he saved everything. I said he acted like our bills would eat us alive if we bought one nice thing. People laughed in the soft, cruel way they do when they want to feel higher. I felt the laughter lift me. I leaned into it instead of stepping back. I said Evan had a business savings plan, like he was a teenager hiding coins in a jar. I said he talked about his van fund, like it was a romance novel. I said I lived with spreadsheets and future tools, not real fun. I watched their faces, and I saw interest, not pity. I told myself I was being honest. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself Evan needed to toughen up. Grant stood close enough to hear. He smiled and asked what Evan's goal number was. I said it was not a goal, it was a fantasy. He laughed and said I was funny. Mary repeated my words louder to the group, like it was a punchline that belonged to her now. Someone lifted a phone for a quick video, and I did not stop it. I even smiled, like I was hosting my own show. When my phone buzzed, I saw Evan's name. He asked if I needed a ride. I said I was fine. He asked what time I would be home. I said later. He asked if the kids were okay with the sitter. I said yes, and I made my voice sharp, like his concern was an insult. After I ended the call, I told the table he was checking on me again. I implied he did it because he did not trust me. The group made sympathetic faces, and I drank that sympathy like it was medicine. I came home close to midnight. The house was quiet, but not peaceful. Evan was in the living room, folding tiny shirts into neat stacks. He did not look up right away. He asked if I had fun. I said it was a work thing. He asked why I sounded annoyed. I said he always turned a simple night into drama. He asked if I had been making jokes about him. I said people asked questions, and I answered. He asked what I answered. I said he should not act like a victim. He said he worked hard and saved hard, and he did not deserve to be mocked. I said he chose to be mocked by living like a poor man, while I lived among rich ones. I said he was making me small. He went quiet for a moment, like he was counting his breath. Then he asked why I needed strangers to clap for me. I said it was not clapping, it was networking. He said it sounded like cruelty. I said he was too sensitive and that his pride was the problem. I told myself I was defending our future. I told myself he was attacking my freedom. He walked into the kitchen and rinsed a mug, slow and steady. I watched his hands. They did not shake. He did not slam anything. He acted like he was cleaning a spill, not cleaning a marriage. On the wall, our family calendar was open. I noticed a new entry written in clean block letters. It said, "Meeting, personal, 9:10 a.m. I asked what that was. He said it was just errands. His tone was flat, like a door closing softly. I went to charge my phone and saw his phone face down near the counter. The screen lit up for 1 second before going dark again. I caught a glimpse of a small message banner that said, "File uploaded successfully." I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself he was probably backing up photos of the kids. Still, when I climbed into bed alone, I could not sleep. The space beside me felt like a warning, and I kept seeing the way he wrote that calendar note, calm and certain, like he had already decided what comes next. The next morning, Evan acted like nothing happened, and that made me angrier than a fight. He woke up early, packed the kids' snacks, and cleaned the counter. He asked if I wanted eggs. I said I had no time. He nodded and did not argue. The silence felt like he was judging me without words. I told myself he was doing it on purpose. When I walked past the shelf in the hallway, I noticed a new folder. It was plain, but the label was neat. It said bank. I stopped and stared like it was an insult. Evan came behind me and asked if I was looking for something. I said I was just surprised. He said he was organizing household stuff. I said he was acting weird. He did not defend himself. He just moved the folder a little, like he did not want me to touch it. At work, the bar story was already alive. Mary told me the group loved my tiny savings joke. She said I should use it again because it was relatable. I said I did not want to bully my husband. She said I was not bullying. I was being honest. I liked that answer. It made my own behavior feel clean. Grant stopped by my desk and asked if I had recovered from the night. I said it was fine and that Evan always made things dramatic. Grant said I deserved someone who could keep up with my world. I told myself he was just being friendly. Still, I felt warm, like I had been seen. Evan had not looked at me like that in a long time, at least in my mind. Around lunch, Evan texted me again. He said the business account transfer cleared and he wanted to show me the numbers later. He asked if we could talk calmly after the kids slept. I stared at the message and felt my chest tighten. Calm talks meant he would ask questions. Calm talks meant I would have to hear how I hurt him. I told myself I did not owe him that. I wrote back late and said I was busy. I added that he should stop tracking our money like a guard. I knew it would poke him. I wanted him to react, because if he reacted, I could call him the problem. He answered with one line. He said he was not guarding me, he was guarding the business. That was it. No anger, no begging. It made me feel like I was losing something I could not name. After work, I stopped at the supermarket. I told myself it was a good wife move. I could buy groceries and feel normal again. Evan met me there because he said he needed to pick up filters for the house vents. We pushed the cart together, and it looked like a couple. It almost fooled me. At the checkout, I grabbed a small imported cheese and a bottle of sparkling juice that was more expensive than the regular one. Evan saw the total climb and asked if we could choose the cheaper brand. His voice was quiet. It should not have mattered. But I heard it as control. I felt people behind us. I felt like they were watching and judging. I said he always did this and that he always made me feel poor. He asked me to lower my voice. I said I was just speaking truth. He said we had a plan and we could still have nice things, just not every day. I said a plan was just another word for fear. I watched the cashier's face, and I liked how uncomfortable it made everyone. It proved I had a reason to be upset. Evan paid anyway. He did not take the cheese out. He did not humiliate me back. He just paid, bagged the items, and said we should go. That was the moment I knew he would not fight in the way I wanted. I wanted him to snap so I could point and say he was the villain. He refused to give me that gift. On the drive home, he asked if I had been telling people he was cheap. I said people noticed on their own. He asked why I wanted strangers to laugh at him. I said I needed support because he never supported me. He said he supported the family every day. I said that was his job, not love. He went quiet again, and I felt a strange itch under my skin. I hated that he could stay calm. That night, my mother called. Janine asked how things were. I told her Evan embarrassed me at the store and acted like I was a child asking for candy. I left out the part where I raised my voice. I left out the part where he still paid. Janine said Evan sounded insecure and small. She said men like that hated successful women. I agreed fast. I needed her to say it. Paul, my father, was on speaker for a second. He asked if we were okay and said marriage needed kindness. I said I was being kind and Evan was being controlling. Paul sighed and said I should not make everything a contest. I told myself he was old and did not understand modern relationships. The next day, Grant asked if I wanted to walk after work, just to clear my head. I said yes, like it was healthy. We met near the riverside promenade where the lights reflected on the water. He asked what Evan did to upset me. I said Evan did not want me to enjoy life. Grant said I deserved joy. He said a man should be proud to spoil his wife. I said Evan only spoiled his tools and his savings. Grant asked if I ever felt alone at home. I said I felt alone even when Evan sat next to me. That was not fully true, but it sounded true when I said it. It made my choices feel justified. Grant said he could listen any time. I told myself that was what a friend did. I ignored how close he stood. I ignored how easy it felt to be someone else for a moment. When I got home late, Evan was in the kitchen rinsing dishes. He asked why I was late. I said a coworker needed help. He asked which coworker. I said it did not matter. He asked why I looked nervous. I said I was tired and he was imagining things. His face stayed neutral, but his eyes looked older. I walked past the hallway shelf again. The bank folder was there, now joined by another label that said Utilities. I also noticed a sticky note on the counter that said Bring Forms. The handwriting looked like Evan's. I asked what forms. He said paperwork for the business. He said it like it was boring. The calmness made it feel dangerous. Later, when the house was quiet, I heard a soft beep from Evan's phone. the kind of beep that did not sound like a normal text. I turned my head, and he was already locking the screen. He asked if I needed something. I said no. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself I was not scared. Still, when I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling, I kept thinking about how he did not chase me. He did not beg. He did not shout. He just moved around me like he was making space. In my head, I tried to paint him as the villain again, but the picture would not stick. And that made me want to push harder, because if he stayed calm, I might have to see myself clearly. I started going to the gym again, not because I loved exercise, but because it made me feel like I was moving forward. The gym lobby smelled like citrus cleaner and perfume. People walked in with expensive water bottles and perfect hair. I liked being seen there. I liked the idea that I belonged in that world. Grant was there more than I expected. He said it was funny that we kept crossing paths. I said it was a big place and normal. He asked if I wanted to grab a smoothie after. I said I had to get home for the kids. He said I always put everyone else first. I said that was what a good mother did. He nodded like he admired me. That look made my chest feel light. When I got home that day, Evan was on the floor with Eli, building a tower of blocks. Maya was drawing at the table. Evan asked how work was. I said it was intense. He asked if I ate. I said I grabbed something quick. He asked if we could talk later. I said I was tired. I noticed he had moved the mugs again, one on each side of the counter. It felt like a silent message. I told myself he was trying to punish me. I told myself he wanted me to feel guilty. Then I noticed something else. A small labeled divider was now inside the bank folder. It said household. Another said business. I did not open them, but the neatness made me uncomfortable, like he was building a wall with paper. The next day at work, Murray brought up the rooftop joke again. She said the team was still laughing about the tiny savings jar. She asked if Evan really did that. I said it was worse than that. I added extra details that were not true, like he counted coins and watched my spending like a hawk. Mari laughed and told 2 other women. I watched my story spread across the office like perfume. Grant leaned on my desk and asked how my strict husband was doing. I said he was acting cold and dramatic. Grant said some men got threatened by a woman with options. I liked the word options. It made me feel powerful. He asked if I wanted to go to a community fundraiser with the office that weekend. I said yes before thinking. I told myself it was for networking. That Friday, Grant offered me a ride from the gym because it was raining. We met in the parking garage, where the lights buzzed and the concrete smelled damp. I hesitated for a moment, but then I told myself it was not a big deal. I said I did not want anyone at work to see us. He said he understood and parked in a quiet corner. In the car, he asked if I ever felt trapped. I said I felt trapped in Evan's small thinking. Grant said I should not shrink for anyone. I said I had been shrinking for years. He asked if Evan ever took me anywhere nice. I said Evan only took me to hardware stores. That was unfair, but it sounded good. It made my frustration sound like proof. Grant touched my arm briefly when he laughed, and I did not pull away. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself I needed warmth. I also told myself I was not cheating, because cheating was a dirty word, and I was a good person. That is what I kept repeating inside my head. When I got home, Evan was in the kitchen making pasta. He asked why I was late. I said the gym ran long. He asked why my car smelled different, like someone else's cologne. I said he was imagining things. He asked if I was seeing someone. I said he was being paranoid and disrespectful. I watched his face, waiting for anger. He did not give it. He just looked at the stove and stirred the sauce. After dinner, Maya asked why Dad was quiet. I said Dad was stressed about money. Evan looked at me then. Not angry, just steady. He asked me not to put adult problems on Maya. I said I was just explaining. He told Maya to brush her teeth and promised to read a story. His voice stayed gentle. That made me feel like I was losing the audience in my own house. Later, I walked past the hallway shelf and saw a new sticky note near the folders. It said, "Follow up." Under it was a time, written like a reminder. I also saw a small USB drive on the shelf for a second before Evan's hand covered it. He said he was backing up work files. I said it was weird. He said it was normal for a business. His calm answer made me feel foolish for asking, so I acted like I did not care. That weekend, the office fundraiser was held in a community hall with round tables and bright overhead lights. There were banners and a small stage. Everyone dressed up like it was a big deal. People took photos in front of a logo wall. I wore a dress that made me feel expensive. Grant told me I looked amazing. I said he was just being polite. He said he meant it. I let myself believe him. Evan came because I told him it would look good if we showed up as a couple. He did not want to go, but he agreed, which I took as weakness. He wore a plain button-down shirt. He looked like a husband in a crowd of performers. I told myself he made me look less important. At our table, Murray asked Evan how his business was doing. Evan said it was steady, and he was saving for a newer service van. Murray laughed like it was cute. I jumped in fast. I said he loved his savings more than he loved fun. I said he treated money like a pet and carried it around in his head all day. People laughed again, and the laughter felt like a spotlight. Evan asked me quietly to stop. I said I was just joking and he always ruined a moment. He asked why I needed to humiliate him. I said he humiliated me with his fear. I watched the people around us nod like they understood. I felt strong, like I had backup. Someone at a nearby table lifted a phone. I noticed the camera pointed in our direction. I did not stop talking. I even tilted my head like I was telling a funny story. I said, Evan made me feel guilty for buying anything nice. I said he acted like my job did not matter. That was a lie, and I knew it, because he had asked about my day every morning. But a lie told with confidence can sound like truth. Evan did not argue. He did not call me names. He did not stand up and make a scene. He just picked up Maya's plate, wiped her hands, and asked if she wanted to go get water. Maya nodded fast. Eli was already sleepy and leaning against Evan's arm. Evan said he would take the kids to the lobby for a minute. He looked at me once, and his eyes were calm in a way I did not understand. I stayed at the table and laughed with everyone, but my stomach started to twist. Grant asked if I was okay. I said I was fine and that Evan was just dramatic. Grant said I deserved better. Mary said Evan needed to grow up. I nodded, but the words did not feel as solid as they used to. When we got home, Evan carried Eli to bed and helped Maya with her pajamas. He asked me to keep my voice down because the kids could hear everything. I said he was acting like a saint to make me look bad. He said he was acting like a father. Then he walked into the guest room without another word. Late that night, when the house was quiet, I woke up to a short mechanical sound, like a machine starting and stopping. It reminded me of a shredder. I smelled something faint, like toner or warm plastic. I sat up and listened. Evan did not come into our bedroom. I told myself I was not worried. I told myself I was in control. But in the dark, I kept seeing that raised phone at the fundraiser. I kept hearing the laughter, and for the first time, I wondered what it looked like from the outside, not as a joke, but as proof. The week after the fundraiser, I decided I needed more people on my side. I told myself Evan was getting cold, and I needed support. Really, I needed witnesses. If enough people believed my version, then my version would feel true. On Monday afternoon, I went to the school pickup line early. The line moved slow, and parents stared at their phones like it was a job. Evan arrived a few minutes later with Eli in the back seat. He waved at Maya through the window when she came out. He looked calm, like he was doing a normal day. That made me feel irritated, because calm fathers look believable. Maya got into our car and asked why Dad did not sleep in our room anymore. Evan said it was just for better rest. I said it was because he was stressed about money. Evan looked at me and asked me not to talk about adult things in front of her. I said I was just explaining so she would not worry. I watched Maya's eyes move between us, trying to choose what to believe. I told myself it was fine. I told myself kids forget. A teacher walked by and smiled. She asked if we were doing okay. I said we were fine, but Evan had been tense lately. I said it in a soft voice like I was concerned. The teacher nodded like she understood. Evan later asked why I said that. I said the teacher asked, and I could not lie. He said I did not need to give people our private problems. I said he did not get to control my words. When we got home, Evan went straight to the kitchen and started on dinner. He did not ask about my day. He did not ask for a talk. He just moved around like he was doing chores in a hotel. The kids sat at the table, and Evan cut fruit for them. I wanted him to react. I wanted proof he was the problem. But he stayed careful, like he was watching himself. I looked for something to grab onto. I noticed his keys on the counter. There was still that extra key on the ring, the one I did not recognize. I asked what it was for. He said it was for a storage unit for work items. I said that was secretive. He said it was practical. I said he was hiding things. He said he was organizing his business. He stayed calm, and I felt like I was punching air. That night, my sister Tessa came over. She sat on the couch and asked what was going on. I said Evan was punishing me with silence. I said he was trying to make me feel crazy. Tessa asked if I did anything to start it. I said I only told the truth about how hard my life felt. I left out the parts where I laughed at him. I left out Grant completely. Tessa said men hated being called out. I said Evan hated that I had standards. Tessa said I should not apologize first. I said I would not. I told myself that was strength. Evan walked past us with a laundry basket. Tessa asked why he looked so serious. I said he loved acting like a victim. Evan did not answer. He just kept walking. That silence made Tessa braver, like he could not stop us. It also made me nervous, but I did not show it. 2 days later, my mother insisted on a family dinner. She said we needed to reset like adults. She chose a family restaurant with a long table and bright lights. It was the kind of place where staff refilled water fast and people stared at other people's plates. Janine loved that kind of scene. She loved an audience. We arrived, and both sides of the family were there. My father Paul sat near the end and looked tired. Evan's mother Diane sat straight and quiet. Evan's brother Kyle sat near Evan and kept his jaw tight, like he was holding back words. At first, the talk was normal. People asked about work and school. Evan answered politely. He asked Maya about her day. She said she drew a winter tree. Evan told her it sounded beautiful. I hated how easy kindness looked on him. Then Janine turned the conversation toward money. She asked Evan how his little business was going. Evan said it was steady and he was saving for a newer service van. Janine smiled in a way that was not kind. She said saving was good, but people needed to enjoy life too. She looked at me like I was a prize being wasted. Mari had told me that when people laugh, they agree. So I tried to make them laugh again. I said, Evan treated his savings like a baby. I said he talked about his van fund more than he talked about romance. I said I felt like I was married to a calculator. I watched faces brighten. Tessa laughed loud. Janine laughed too. A couple of relatives smiled like they were relieved to have a clear villain. Evan asked me quietly to stop. He said he did not want this in front of the kids. I said it was a joke, and he was too sensitive. Diane's eyes flashed. She asked me why I enjoyed hurting him. I said I was not hurting him, I was being honest. Diane said honesty did not need an audience. I told myself she was biased because she was his mother. Kyle asked Evan if he wanted to leave. Evan said not yet. He kept his voice even. That made Kyle look frustrated. My father Paul asked me, softly, if we could keep peace for the children. I said peace was impossible when Evan acted like a martyr. Janine said Evan should stop controlling me with his budgets. Evan asked what he had controlled. Janine said his attitude controlled the whole house. Evan said he had never stopped me from working, going out, or spending within reason. I cut in and said within reason was the whole problem. I said he moved money around like it was his, not ours. I said he treated me like a child. Evan looked at me and asked if I truly believed that. I said yes. I said I lived with pressure every day and I deserved ease. Evan said he also lived with pressure, and he did it without mocking me. I wanted to twist that into an attack, so I said he was trying to shame me into silence. I said he loved making me look bad. Diane pushed her chair back and said she could not sit there and watch this. She stood and asked Evan to come with her. Evan said he would take the kids outside for air. He picked up Eli carefully and took Maya's hand. Maya looked back at me and then looked down. That look hit me harder than any word. When Evan walked toward the door, he did not slam it. He did not curse. He just left the table with calm steps. Kyle followed him, and Diane followed too. The room felt colder. Janine leaned in and said, I should not let him win. I said he was the one making a scene by leaving. Paul did not agree. He just stared at his plate. In the parking lot, Evan put the kids in his car first because he said it was safer. I walked behind them, still angry. I saw a small camera on his windshield. I had noticed it before, but this time I watched the tiny light. It blinked once, then stayed steady. Evan adjusted it without looking at me. I asked if he was recording me. He said it was for safety and insurance, and it stayed on during drives. I said he was being paranoid. He said he was being responsible. On the way home, Maya asked why Grandma Janine was mean to Dad. I said Grandma was just worried about me. Evan said Grandma should not speak that way in front of children. I said he could not control my family. Evan said he was not controlling them. He was setting a boundary for the kids. That word, boundary, sounded like a wall. That night, after the kids fell asleep, I walked past the hallway shelf again. The bank folder and utilities folder sat in a neat row. I saw another label peeking out that looked like household. I did not touch it. I did not want to confirm my fear. I went to get water and saw Evan's laptop on the table for a second. A spreadsheet was open, just columns and dates, no title, no big words. I felt a cold pinch in my stomach. Evan came in, closed it and asked if I needed anything. I said I was just thirsty. He nodded and walked away like it was nothing. In bed, I told myself he was only trying to scare me. I told myself he would not really do anything. Then I remembered how he left the restaurant without raising his voice, how he carried the kids like they were the only rule he followed. I stared into the dark and realized I did not know what he was collecting, but I could feel him collecting something. I thought the dinner would force Evan to break. I thought he would shout, or beg, or call my mother names. I needed him to do something big and ugly, because then I could point at it and say I was right. But he did not do it. He kept doing the small, lawful things. He picked up the kids. He made lunches. He paid bills. He looked like a man who could stand in front of anyone and say he did his part. That made me feel cornered, so I started pushing harder at home. One evening, I waited for him on the stairwell landing. The house was quiet except for the dryer humming. I stood where he had to pass me. When he came up with a basket of laundry, I asked why he was acting like a stranger. He said he was tired and wanted peace. I said peace was a weapon. I said he was freezing me out to punish me. He asked me to step aside. I said no. I asked if he even wanted me anymore. He said he wanted a calm home for the kids. I said he was using the kids as a shield. He said he would talk when the kids were asleep. I said he always delayed things. He said he was not delaying. He was protecting them from our mess. I felt the heat rise in my face. I told him I could tell people what he was really like. I said I could tell my coworkers he controlled our money and treated me like a child. He looked at me and asked if I truly wanted to do that. I said I would do what I had to do. He said I was free to talk, but words had costs. He did not say it like a threat. He said it like a fact. I stepped aside, but I did not feel like I won. I felt like I hit a wall and the wall did not move. In the kitchen later, I watched him make tea. He put one mug on his side and one on mine, still separated. I asked why he was doing that. He said it helped him think. I said he was being dramatic. He said he was being careful. I asked careful about what? He said careful about the kids and about himself. I told myself he was playing a game. I told myself I could still control the story outside the house. At work, I started hinting more. When people asked how my marriage was, I said Evan was weird about money. I said he had rules. I said he watched every purchase. I kept my voice soft so it sounded like concern, not anger. People leaned in. They always leaned in. Murray told me I was brave for speaking up. Grant asked if Evan was still punishing me. I said yes, like I was reporting a crime. Grant said I did not deserve that. He asked if I wanted to meet after work, just to breathe. I said yes because I wanted someone to mirror me back as a victim. We met near a small cafe close to the office. Grant talked about travel and nice dinners. He asked what I wanted from life. I said I wanted respect. I said respect followed results, and I had results. Grant smiled like that was wise. I told myself that smile meant I was right. When my phone buzzed, I saw Evan's name again. I let it ring. I wanted him to feel the same anxiety I felt. Later, I texted him that I was busy. I added that he should stop acting like my father. I knew it would sting. I came home late, and Evan was in the living room reading with Maya. He finished the page, closed the book, and told her it was time for bed. Maya asked if we could all eat breakfast together tomorrow. Evan said yes. I stayed quiet, because the question made me feel like a bad person, and I hated that feeling. After the kids went to sleep, Evan came to the kitchen like he promised. He asked where I had been. I said work. He asked why I did not answer his call. I said I did not hear it. He asked if that was true. I said he was interrogating me. He said he was asking a simple question. I said he always acted innocent while he controlled everything. He did not raise his voice. He asked if I wanted to stay married. I laughed in a sharp way and asked if he wanted me, or if he wanted a quiet employee who cooked and smiled. He said he wanted a partner who did not shame him. I said he shamed himself by living small. I said he was lucky I stayed with him while my world got bigger. He looked down for a moment, like he was choosing words. He asked if there was someone else. I said he was paranoid again. I said he was trying to trap me in a confession. He said he was not trapping me. He was asking because he needed the truth. I said the truth was he pushed me away first. I said he cared more about savings than about me. Then he asked me to stop talking about his business like it was a joke. He said he built it with hard work. He said the savings were not cute. They were survival. I told him survival was not romance. He said romance did not grow in disrespect. I felt myself slipping, so I tried a different move. I told him he was not a real man if he could not provide a better life. I said it was embarrassing to explain his business to my coworkers. I said I could have married someone bigger. I watched his face, waiting for him to break. He did not break. He just said he would not discuss my coworkers anymore. He said our marriage was not entertainment. I said he was sensitive and weak. He said he was done being laughed at. The next day, I went looking for proof that he was hiding something. When he took the kids outside for a short walk, I went into the hallway and stared at the labeled folders again. Bank. Utilities. Household. I did not open them, but I ran my fingers over the edges like I could feel secrets through paper. I also noticed the drawer in the side table was locked now. I pulled on it once, gently. It did not move. I told myself I had the right to know what was inside. I told myself husbands did not lock drawers unless they were guilty. When Evan came back, he heard the small sound of the lock. He looked at the drawer, then at me. I said I was looking for tape. He said there was tape in the kitchen. I said he was hiding things from me. He said he was keeping things safe. That night, I woke up to a soft alarm sound from his phone. It was not loud, but it cut through the quiet. I saw the screen for a second before he turned it away. It said, "Paper drop 8:40 a.m. I asked what that was. He said it was a reminder for a work errand. I said it sounded secretive. He said not everything was about me. Kyle came by the next afternoon to drop off something for the kids. I heard them talk in the garage corner, where Evan kept his tools and boxes. Kyle asked if Evan was okay. Evan said he was fine. Kyle said he should not let me walk all over him. Evan said he would not fight Gerty. Kyle said he did not need to fight Gerty to protect himself. When Kyle left, Evan came inside and washed his hands. He moved slow, like he was tired of the whole air in the house. I followed him into the kitchen and demanded one more talk. I said he had to choose me or lose me. He looked at me for a long moment, then spoke in the calmest voice I had ever heard from him. He said he would handle it properly. I went to work the next morning, like I could outwalk the problem. I dressed sharp and told myself I looked like a woman with control. In the elevator, I rehearsed lines in my head. I told myself Evan would cool down. I told myself he would miss me. I told myself he would blink first. In the open plan office, Mari asked if things were better. I said Evan was still acting cold, but he would get over it. Mari said some men loved power games. I said Evan loved power, and he used money to do it. Grant walked by and asked if I wanted lunch later. I said yes, because I wanted something easy. Near mid-morning, HR sent a message asking me to come downstairs to the office tower lobby for a quick check-in. That annoyed me. I told myself it was about a campaign budget. I grabbed my phone and walked down with my badge swinging, like I owned the building. The lobby was bright and echoing. People moved in lines, coffee cups in hand. I saw Mari near the security desk talking to someone. Grant stood a few steps back, looking curious. I felt eyes on me before I knew why. A man I did not recognize walked toward me with a calm face and a folder in his hand. He asked if I was Gerty Farish. I said yes, and I asked who he was. He said he was there to deliver legal documents. I laughed once, like it was a mistake, and I said he had the wrong person. He repeated my name and asked me to confirm my address. I said I was not confirming anything. He said he only needed to identify me, and he had. Then he held out the folder. I did not take it at first. I looked around, hoping someone would step in and make it stop. Nobody moved. The man said I was being served. He said it was a divorce filing and temporary orders. The words hit me like cold water. I felt my mouth open, but nothing smart came out. I asked if Evan put him up to this. The man said he was neutral and it was his job. I took the folder because people were staring. My hands felt stiff. I flipped the first page and saw Evan's name and mine in clean print. I saw today's date. I saw lines about a temporary parenting schedule and rules for communication. I saw a section about finances, about separating accounts for bills and business, and stopping certain spending. It was not a threat. It was structure. Mari's face changed. She stopped smiling. Grant's eyes dropped to the folder, then back to me. He did not look impressed anymore. He looked like he wanted distance. I stepped away toward a quiet corner, near a plant, and tried to call Evan. It went to voicemail. I texted him and asked what he was doing. A minute later, he replied with one short line. He said we would only talk about the kids, and only in writing. I wrote back that he was being cruel. He did not answer. HR appeared near the lobby entrance and asked if I needed a private room. I said I was fine, but my voice shook. The process server asked me to sign a small form to confirm delivery. I refused at first, then he said it did not change the service. He said it was already done. I looked through the pages again, faster. I saw dates that matched my late nights. I saw small notes that felt like my own words thrown back at me. I tried to tell myself Evan was overreacting, but the paper did not care about my feelings. Across the glass doors, I saw Evan outside for a second, not coming in, not shouting, just standing like a stranger who followed the rules. He glanced once toward the lobby, then turned away and walked to his car. And in that moment, with everyone watching and the temporary orders active today, I understood the story was no longer mine.